Well, Ify, welcome to Just Talking. It is
Hey.
it is seriously my honor to have you here. I have gotten to watch you interview so many people and just really admire you as a comedian, performer, streamer, and it's just really exciting to have the opportunity to talk to you one on one.
Oh, I know. It's super duper exciting because usually, in the grand scheme of what we are usually up to, we're always like talking and passing. So we never got a chance to actually like sit down and get it in.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
And that is what Twitch is for. Or at least that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do. I want to bring more talk show vibes to Twitch, and I think this is a good way to start.
Ooh, I agree.
Well, on that note, I'd love to start with where it all began for you. Where did you grow up, and how did you originally get into comedy?
Well, I'm an LA native, so I grew up right out here in Los Angeles. And my dad's from Nigeria, my mom's from Louisiana, and they met when they both like kind of came out here. Like my mom was a nurse, my dad, he was like at the time he was just kind of looking for just work. He came out here from Nigeria on a like a lottery visa, and he said he was in Minnesota first. It was too cold, so he came to LA. Then they linked up, and then it was all history. They had little Iffy. But yeah, I grew up. I mean, I think that I had a very similar like the you what you'd expect like a stand-up's upbringing to be. Like always a class clown, was a creative kid, liked doing creative things. Didn't like math, hated math.
Same.
Uh, and I really first started doing comedy actually senior year of high school. There was a
Mhm.
program out here called Comedy Sports High School League, and so the Comedy Sports was it's essentially just a an improv show. It's a family friendly improv show that started in Chicago, I believe, and it's like a competitive improv show. So do you remember whose line is it anyway at all?
Of course.
So it's like very similar to that. Like it's like a very solid, um, like straightforward, kind of show where it's this faux competition, but the points don't like there is a point system, but in the
Right.
end they really don't mean anything. It's just you know, it's just like what who's there, especially in the high school league, because with the high school league it was like pretty much whoever had the more popular kid there. So
Mhm.
like or not even popular kid, but like whoever's school it was going to win, because obviously if we're doing this competitive show at Downey High, when it comes to the audience voting who did better, they're going to pick their school every time.
Yeah,
But
of
that's
course.
kind of like what taught me improv, and that style of improv, and whose line is it anyway, it's called short form improv. And
Cool.
and so what short form is it's just like a collection of games. Like you're doing like funny games and usually the funny thing that's built into the game. Like there's a game called forward reverse, and that's the one where you do a scene. If they say reverse, you do the scene backwards, forward. It's in as you get deeper into it, they make it more and more intense. Um, yeah, oh yeah, it's
Sounds
great.
hard.
Uh, oh, it's definitely one of those like challenging fun ones, but in the end, like definitely definitely worth it. Like I had a blast doing it. But then there's like genre replay, so you do a scene and you do it over and over, but just with different, you're doing like different like different genres. So like say we do a scene where like, oh, we're on a date and I have some weird quirk. So then we'd see it as a western, and we'd see it as a drama, and we see it. So and that's kind of like where that went. So I fell in love with improv when I started doing it, cuz I was like, "Oh, I can be funny and not disrupt class and have this like, fun, exciting experience." And then And then I started doing, short form like after school. So when I was going to community college, the advisor, my buddy now, Lars, he was like the teacher advisor, and it was already kind of a more like advanced relationship because I was a senior, almost 18, and he was like a younger teacher, like in his 20s. So, and we had a lot of the same interests. But I remember like when I was still in high school, he was saying like he was playing Battlefield, and I was like, oh yeah, let me come over and play. He's like, no, it's like I'm a teacher. No, you can't come over and play. But then when I graduated and then was in college, we were on an improv team together, and it was called
Oh.
Cherry Spits, and so we were doing shows all over, and it was very like the way I learned like how to do like, I guess I'll say adult improv, like improv out in the adult scene was very interesting because you like we would have to like we usually like paired up with the theater. We and a lot of times it was like Long Beach Playhouse, and then there's this theater. I forget the name of it, but it was like in the deep Orange County area, and it would be like these black box theaters. And what we would do is just essentially rent it out really late, like after. So usually, and they would like it too because. Um, they would be like, okay, after our this play, you can stay and see some comedy. So it would be this partnership with the theater, but it was a lot of work because you had to advertise it, you had to work out pay, you had to pay
Mm.
for the space. It was, and like especially a lot of these places we were doing, it was real hard to build this audience up. But I was doing that for a while, and then eventually I started taking classes at UCB, and that's when I started learning long form. And it was around the time
Oh.
too that Cherry Spitz would come out to LA every now and then and do a show, and we were learning this new long form. Which long form now is there's many different styles, but it's less of a game. Like in short form performances, it would pretty much be we would plan out all the games we would play. It would be like a very kind of presentational thing where it's like, hey, we're Cherry Spits. Okay, boom, we're gonna do, and how y'all doing tonight? All right, we're gonna play forward reverse. Okay, boom, we do it. You get laughs. Oh, thank you. Okay, next up, we're gonna play this. Oh, and so whereas like long form is there's usually a form, whether it's like the Herald, which is you start off with an opening to kind of garner our ideas, and all of this and improv, hence the name, comes from audience suggestions. But
Mm.
uh, you know, it's in short form. It's very suggestion heavy because, like, say you do something like four rooms, and four rooms is where there's four different scenes on stage, and then someone, whoever is running the game, is turning it, and so you're
Oh.
getting. It's almost like flipping the channel. You're getting pieces of these scenes as they advance, and
Right.
sometimes as you get more advanced, people will end up in each other's scene. It's real fun, but like you're constantly stopping down and like getting a suggestion and then getting a suggestion. Whereas like long form, you get a suggestion up top and then you're off to the races. Then it's all performance. And so like a
Mm.
Herald, you get a suggestion, you do an opening, you start with three scenes based off of ideas you garnered from the opening. Then you do a group game, then you revisit the three scenes where or it's not the same three scenes, but it's a heightened idea of the game that you found in the three scenes. And like the simplest way to describe a game is like the funny thing. So
Mm.
like have you seen I Think You Should Leave at all?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna talk to you all about that's one of my favorite sketch shows. But okay, or Key and Peele,
Yes.
Key and,
I know
and so
Key and
you have
Peele.
yeah. So like so when they do the two bellhops who like are excited about a show and they're saying so like the game of that sketch is that these guys both like they get super excited for the shows, but if someone comes around they try and like be professional, but then they're like that's the game that they're revisiting and they're heightening it every as this goes. that's
Okay.
that's essentially what you're doing. That's what the game is. So like if you did a scene where someone's going to the Statue of Liberty because they want to steal it, and someone's trying to explain to them that that's too big to steal, then like in the second beat of this game in the next part of the Herald, you would do a bigger version of that, and then the third
Mm.
beat kind of even blows it out and kind of also calls back some of the elements from the earlier two beats, or sometimes it'll combine the other two scenes that you're doing in this Herald. So that's one way. we my team we do what's called a montage, which is a lot more simple, which is get a suggestion, or you get some way. So sometimes we do a suggestion and we just go. Sometimes we'll go around the audience and ask them about their days and their weeks and go off that. But all that is you're doing montages of scenes. So it's just scenes based off of things you talked with the audience,
Yeah.
and that's long. So it's a completely different, art form. I learned it. I started getting real into it, and and then somewhere along the way, I ended up meeting the guys in my comedy group, white women. We wanted to do like this improv thing, and we were like, we wanted to do an improv team with all black dudes. Let's do it. And we just clicked, and then we started writing sketches together, and then it was kind of history from that. And stand up was always parallel to that. Like the moment I came to LA to start doing improv is the moment I started doing stand up, because I always
Mm.
liked stand up, but it always seemed like something I couldn't do. And I think it was because as a kid, I just assumed that those dudes were just up there going off the top of the dome. Like I didn't know they
Yeah.
were building these sets that they were running over and over and over and perfecting and crafting. I was like, I can't imagine just being able to just stand on stage and talk
Who
for
were
an
some of your
hour. But
favorites growing
oh
up?
man, growing up, it was like Chris Tucker, Chris Rock, Bernie Mac, all the kings of comedies. Dane Cook, I liked to, when I was in high school, I was a big Dane Cook guy. Dave Chappelle, of course.
Yeah.
Pretty much like the known goats. Carlin was definitely on my radar, but like I didn't have as much access. The only reason I really saw Carlin was my older brother really liked the special where he does like the 7 things you can't say on TV. Like that special, my brother liked, and so I saw some of his stuff there too. But like at the time, I was too young to really like digest, all of it.
Right. It's definitely a
So
lot.
yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much like the origin story of the comedy. But how like I ended up, doing all the things I do today was all just a whole bunch of like things I love doing coming together in a big way. That's why it was so interesting, because like I think when you get to that grind mode, whether it be if you're like a musician, if you're a comedian, an actor, a writer, you get like your early stages when you're kind of like trying to cut your teeth, learn stuff. I like to call that like your grind mode. When you get there, I think like it's so easy to be like, okay, I can't do all the things that I like doing because I got to focus on this. I want to get you got to get tunnel vision to get good at this.
Yeah.
And and I like there are some things I cut off from that. Like I used to be really into photography, and I'm back into it now, but this is like years later. But like, video games I just love too much. I was always just a nerd at heart. So I just couldn't let it go. And I always kind of had the I the ideas for stuff and not the follow through. Like I used to do a weekly pull YouTube thing that I think I did 1 week of, and then I did like a kind of vlogging series that I did actually quite a few of, but it was like I didn't like truly understand like how it's all about the consistency and putting
Yeah.
it out and then finding ways to get it out there. Like I saw everything, but I didn't quite, because there's like that brain, right? Every time we see like anyone, whether it be on this platform or other platforms, when you see them like figure it out and do something new, fun, and interesting, and you're like, oh, damn, why didn't I think of that? But then everyone's doing their version of it. So then it becomes like this thing that everyone's doing. Like, I feel like I just never had that brain to be like, okay, this is how I do it. And I think that's like partly like a producer brain. Like, my
Hmm.
brain is always going to be on the more creative end, like a writer, actor, director side, but the producer brain that's like, oh no, here's the pieces that come together
Right.
with that makes it happen. Like I think people don't understand like the importance and power of producers, because they're the ones with that brain who like will take, and they're creative people too, so they'll be like, oh yeah, I get what you're doing, and here's how to make it work. It's like, because
Yeah.
you have this concept and this is and vision, but you have no way to make it work. And then that's where the producers come in and just kill the game. I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but
as a producer, I feel like that's my job. You know, like I want the
yeah,
talent to focus on being creative and doing what they do best. It's not your job
yeah.
to have to execute and do all this behind the scenes work, you know?
Well, it's, yeah. I just it's just seeing everything that goes into it and knowing it. It really just lets just truly appreciate it, I guess. And I
Yeah,
think a lot of
definitely.
people, when they look at something, they don't understand. If someone sees a movie, they're often talking about like not even all the actors, usually the lead actor and the director,
Mm-hmm.
and and no one ever like really gives credit to all the bits and pieces to like that makes it happen. Like even like these scenes where people are like, "Oh man, this is such a great shot," and they're almost trying to give it to the DP. But I'm like, that's also the lighting person. That's
Yeah,
also the location scout who was able to find that spot for them. That's all.
yeah.
It's such a collaborative effort, and I think that's what I like. I've always been a collaborative person, so I like that. I don't think I can ever thrive as just to be this solitary by myself thing. I like being around people and working with people. I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the best examples is like I have a single coming out
Ooh.
like probably in the next like day or so because the
What?
way yeah, the
Oh my
way
god.
I tried to have it come out I tried to have it coming out New Year's Day, but the only people who can clock you and tell you when the single's going to drop is people who up uploads it weeks in advance because then
Right.
it's all because I forgot that they have to transfer anyway. I knew it, but I also like we were working on editing it and like I had a mixer, Connor Head, shout out to him, who like really was like nailing it, and we got it done New Year's Eve, and I was like, okay, well,
Damn.
either way, I'll just do this. But I've always wanted to rap
Hell yeah.
like since high school. It's something I've loved. I loved everything about it. I've written down raps. I love freestyling. I've wanted to do this for so long. And I played it for my best friend the other day and he started laughing. He was like, "Wow, this was like 16 years in the making." And I was like, "Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
because but it was always because like I always wanted to do it like as a collective and like all the guys and white women that we all started doing music in the quarantine, like everyone's quarantine active, so we started recording music. And now that I have this collective that I can like both hit up and I have people I can contact to produce and all this stuff, like it now it just kind of resonates with me, and it's so easy for me to just like put down a track.
Oh my
So
god. I'm
that's
so excited
that's
for you and for me. This is amazing news.
yeah, it's gonna yeah, I'm super excited. It's what's really exciting is because like there was a point in time where I had a very early draft of a song and a single that was coming out, and at the time if I would have dropped that, it would have been that, and then I would have been like, okay, it's time. But like I'm dropping this and I have like three other songs in the can ready to go,
Fuck yeah.
and so I'm really really hyped about that.
Oh my gosh. I'm freaking hyped. I want to know like so you're releasing it under your name?
If D's, I
Ify's.
took
Okay.
my stream name and I was like, this is a
Hell
good
yeah.
rap name.
It
I'm gonna
is.
just, yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna stick with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I ask what the song is called or do you want to keep it a secret?
Oh yeah. The song is called Luxury. No, it's so I have a link out that where you can like pre-save it on Spotify,
Oh,
and so as
perfect.
soon as it drops, you'll have it. But yeah, it's called Luxury. It's with me, and it's really it's so funny because it really was with my boy Ira, who I met through nerd stuff, and then I
Uh-huh.
found out he was the songwriter, and he would send me like demos and stuff that he would make, and I'd be like, "Bro, you're great." Like I don't know why,
Yeah.
it's like I see that you're making these songs for other people, but also you're dope. You should like cook up some stuff, and he'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then so I sent him one song I was working on, and then he did like he wrote me a verse on that. And he was like, you can use this if you want. I was like, no, this is tight. If I was going to use it, I'd give it to you.
Yeah.
Like I'd have your thing on it. And he was like, oh, cool. and then I like wanted some like specific like beats and stuff, and I knew he'd have like a person, so I contacted him. I was like, "Yo, you got these beats?" And then he linked me up with Connor, who does the who does the mixing and stuff now.
Hmm.
And then I sent him another song, and then he did the same thing where he just did like a verse on it, and I was like, "Bro, that's it. That's the verse that's going to be on it." And then
Oh,
we ended up started cooking up, so we got a whole bunch of songs we're about to drop.
oh my
It's
God.
it's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, super exciting. Do you think Young Skirt, Ifty's collab
Oh, yeah, that's
coming
already,
soon?
you already know that's in the works. We're already working towards
Wow.
that. We've been chopping it up. He already heard the song. I sent it to. He was one of the first people I sent it to.
Oh
Then he
my
sent me his
gosh.
McDonald's song. Yeah.
Oh
Oh yeah.
yeah, banger.
It's gonna be, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Damn, this is like the Twitch collab of the century. This is
Yeah.
exciting. I'm almost
My
offended you
body is
didn't tell
ready.
me, Matt, if you're watching. I'm pissed. I
Yeah.
didn't know about this.
Yeah, we got you. We got you on camera, Matt.
Wow, wow. Well, okay. So this is big. So you're venturing into the music world.
Yeah.
Um, but as I said, that's a Twitch collab, Youngster and Ifties coming together. And I wanted to ask you because you have a wide reach. You're
Mhm.
obviously, just you are Twitch. You have a big presence on Twitch. You have a presence on Instagram. You have a presence on Twitter. Do you have a favorite? What's like the platform
Oh
that you
man.
like the most?
I like Twitch. Twitch feels like my mothership because I feel like it's the one place you can come, and then we can talk about everything that I'm listening to. Like all my like community have heard, the demo. They haven't heard the
Oh,
finished version, but they heard the demo of Luxury because we were in there and we were chopping it up about it, and then I was able to play it. I like, I was able to get like, clips for the Auntie Donna show on Netflix, and I was able to show that on stream and stuff. So like,
awesome.
I feel that's the one place I can just give information about the things I'm doing and also play a bunch of video games and create content that way. Like I
Yeah.
was talking to somebody how I don't like, I can't imagine doing a YouTube channel because like I being able to just create the content and improvise on the fly and having it there, I don't know, like the idea of just kind of like editing
Yeah.
makes me just go, "Oh no."
I totally agree. And it seems like it just leads perfectly into your experience, with this huge
Oh yeah.
improv background. Like live is the answer. It just makes sense.
Oh yeah. That's
It,
that's exactly how I feel.
yeah. I agree. Twitch is pretty awesome. What I know we're just starting this new year, but like what have been your favorite Twitch projects that you've worked on? Also, how did you even get started on Twitch? Like when did your Twitch
Oh
journey
man.
begin?
Yeah, so that was kind of where I was saying like it all kind of came together, right? So, you know, as I'm doing all the comedy stuff and all that, I was also like, I like ended up with one this one dude who was helping start Socialtron Live, which I think is back now, but the first run of Live, uh, and in that they were like, "Oh, if you have any friends who like, works on, who are nerdy and would be interested in this, let me know." And I had a buddy, Zach Eubank, who was
Mm.
a producer. He had his production company was Aren't We Clever, and we met because we did this all deaf digital sketch together. So I was like, "Oh, come
Oh.
in." And then he had the producer brain to be like, "Oh, these are all the things you could be doing better." And then he ends up, after we got done with Socialtron, he ends up starting Geek and
Yeah.
Sundry's Twitch channel, and
Oh.
then he put me on as a host, and that's kind of what started me down that path, because that's the thing with like the whole Twitch hosting space, especially with all the brands like Geek and Sundry, your Nerdises, and Screen
Hmm.
Junkies and stuff, is when they see you can do it because they're seeing you doing on other stuff, they invite you to come guest on things, and so I
Right.
just ended up just doing that anytime because I've always been the type where it's like, if it's an opportunity, I'll say yes just to do it and see how it is. So I was just saying yes to everything that came, and I would just do that. And then I paused for a bit because I started writing for Ad Midnight, and I wrote for that for a year. And then when I came back, I was hosting for Nerdist, and then I had another writing job come up, and so it became this like interesting thing where like I'd get a writing job, and then when I get done, I'd end up hosting for a different channel, and then writing job, and eventually it like racked up. But I like that's how I started in general. So then by the time, I was at Twitch, for when the Twitch clothing line first came out, they had some partners come up, and I've already seen Fresh Stock and heard of it. And I was like really into sneakers at the time, and so I bumped into Amin, who was working there at the time,
Yeah.
and I was like, I want to do this show. And then, after connecting on the fact that we're both Nigerian men, he was like, okay, I'll do it. So then they had me as a
So
guest.
cool.
And then so they were like, oh, would you want to host the show? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And so then that's when I started doing like the host stuff for Twitch, and it's been history ever since. I'm
Wow.
surprised they keep asking me back, but I always say yes.
Oh my gosh, you're
Mhm.
just like the absolute best to work with. How could you be
Oh, thank
surprised?
you.
I think I came on right on like the last season of Fresh Doc. I remember
Yeah.
putting those call sheets together.
Yeah, that was a good time. Fresh Stock was great. I miss it.
I miss it too. I wish we could bring that
Yeah.
back.
Mm.
We have a question from the chat. I'm gonna put it up
Ooh,
on
okay.
screen. Perlman
Yeah.
asked, "What's something you want to accomplish in the next year or next 5 years?"
Ooh, that's a really good question. Definitely, something I like to accomplish is, creating and getting like a show that I made greenlit, and also really, I think there's two levels of it. Like just general career wise, in the next 5 years, would love to get a 1 hour special up on, Netflix or any of the other streamers. But Netflix has my eyes right now. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely would like to have a show that I've created greenlit and on the air. And I think the last thing is just really expand on my Twitch space. I've seen a lot of people, like the way I used to look at Twitch is so much different now than how it used to be. And it's been not just from my own accord, but really watching other people. Like before Hassan Piker was on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
if you would have asked me, hey, I'm a politics guy and I want to do on career, I'd be like, no way, just stay off. It's not going to work. There's no way you can like sit and talk politics on Twitch. There's no space for it. And he carved that space out, and
Yes,
he
he
like
did.
and he like has this like open, like discussions going in his chat. It moves so fast, yet he still has a way to make people feel seen. And one of the ways he did it, because I'm gonna talk about how the sausage is made in here, is I like that he has his chat as he sees it visible. So it also in like subconsciously makes you realize how fast it's going for him, and you also
Mm-hmm.
see like the things that do it. So like he lots of times he'll pause it for highlighted messages, so people know that if you highlight the message, you'll have a better chance. Like he's like created a way to show you how to communicate with him. And I think also the way he's, and not just him, but I've seen a lot of streamers now have had this like nice AMA watch along style streams that are way more chill. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how we started, doing something I started last year. It petered out, but I'm going to start doing it in a more official, great way, called F Around Fridays. And and that was it was like a fun Friday show where everyone's kind of chill, and a bunch of my friends were all in a Discord call, so it's like very like semi chaotic, but it's like it being at this like house party like setting.
Yeah.
And also just seeing all these people come together and talk.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. I love the idea of
Yeah.
carving out this space, and I think Hassan Piker is obviously like the perfect
Yeah.
example. So
Hmm.
I know, you're a gamer, you're a huge movie buff. I want to talk about that. But like, what do you think your space would look like? What's your dream if these like Twitch sphere?
Oh man, it's so. I think my dream space would be a space of like both show and tell, where it's like not only am are we seeing the things that I'm creating, but if like someone in the community put together like a short or someone in the community put something on, we can also highlight that and look at it together and kind of like big up, because that's one thing I like is more than putting myself on, I like putting people onto other people's things. Like, I started, as we all know with the DMCA stuff, it gets a little, a little spicy. But, now that I have this collective of friends releasing music, my pre-stream music is just their music because I know I have their permission to just play it through. And people like coming in and chat and be like, oh, who's this? This is great. Yada, yada, yada. It's like, yeah, I like that. Like, you found, one of my friends doing music through just being here. Like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I totally agree. And I'm excited for this community to continue to develop. You know, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Um, we have another question from chat. Unknown 347 asked, "How do you feel, or how do you deal with stress from the job and life together?"
Mm. That's a really good question. Unknown. You with that, it's been like two main things, which is like one, carving out some time for just yourself. Like, I feel like, it's very easy to get wrapped up in this, like, I have to keep pumping out content. I have to, if I'm still conscious, I need to be, and sometimes it's like, no, sometimes you need a day to yourself, even if you want to gaming off stream with your friends, and doing just kind of breaking off from creating any content. You need those days. And the other thing for me is just like working out, going on hikes, being active is a great way, because usually when you're in that moment, especially like if you're like doing like really intense workout, you get to this point where like the only thing your mind is on is like your breathing, your heart rate, and like what's going on that moment, and it just kind
Yeah.
of pulls you away from everything and allows you to just focus on something else.
Yeah, I love that feeling. It's hard to
Oh
get.
yeah.
It takes a lot of effort to get there, but once you do, it's
Yeah.
like, yes, it's
Oh
the
yeah. You're
best.
just in the zone.
Yeah. So a little bit earlier, you mentioned getting a show greenlit. I
Hmm.
want to talk about this concept because, so prior to Twitch, I mean, I guess I work in development now, but I've always wanted to work
Hmm.
in development. I've always wanted to create shows and get them greenlit as well. And I started out my career at National Geographic Channel. So I was
Oh,
working
nice.
for like a, you know, traditional cable network. But
Hmm.
since then, my idea of greenlit has really changed. And, as someone who has as much experience as you do, I'm curious, like, what getting a show greenlit looks like to you today. Like, is that Hulu or Netflix? Is that
Oh.
cable? Is that
Oh.
digital?
Well, usually that's a really good question. I like that. I've said that all the time, but these are all real good questions. Uh, because I work in so many facets and forms. When I say get a show greenlit, I'm talking about specifically TV, and I'm talking about I'm doing an upfront. We're saying on Friday, it's all this because I've sold a show. I've sold shows, and I've had shows greenlit on digital platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
like and I'm not saying those weren't great. It was great. But like also as someone you as like TV, but if you're watching and you don't understand what we're talking about, Perlman also knows TV as well. Uh, if you Here's all the steps before that show you like even gets on TV. So you pitch it, and if you're doing like a dry pitch, you might get paid to do a pilot script. You do a pilot script. You write the pilot script. It goes through your development contact, back and forth, back and forth. Um, And then if the network likes it, then you'll get greenlit for a pilot. And then you shoot the pilot, then you're going through notes with the network, back and forth, back and forth. And then if the pilot is, they like the pilot, then that's when you'll get a series order, and you get x however many episodes in the season, and then you start doing it, and it comes out. Hopefully there are other things that can happen between it reaches TV
Right.
that happen,
Do you
but
attach yourself as director, star, writer? Like, how do you usually package yourself with what you're selling?
with me, it's usually if it's a role that I wrote for me, then it's usually just actor, writer,
Mm-hmm.
producer, but like nothing, never director. I mostly because like I just don't like. I think I could defend my right to act in it. I can defend my right to write in it, but as a director, that's something that's just going to come with a few more reps,
Yeah.
as one would say. But yeah, so that's typically how I do it, and it's been like I said, it's good, but it's very interesting because like all these steps, are such a learning experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're seeing this, you get to the point, and every time it's your first time at that step, it's so hard to really assess until after, because when it's your first time, you want it to go so bad. Like if you sell a script, you want to make that show so bad that no matter what the notes are, if they're coming from the network, you're kind of agreeing with it, instead of being
Yeah.
like, oh no, I need to kind of buck back and build the show that I want, and explain to them why certain things need to be the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it's your first time, you're like, yes, yes, okay, yes, and
Yeah.
then your script might get passed on, and you're looking at the script, and you're like, this isn't even the show I wanted
Who
to
wrote
make.
this?
Yeah, exactly. But and it's like no one's it's never no one's fault, because the development person is just trying to help you make the show that they know will go, but then that still doesn't mean that the exec above them agrees with what they think are the things that they're looking for. There's just so
Mm-hmm.
many people to please, so it just it's really just like it's like, the skill is what got you in the room in that position there. And I think after that, it's a whole bunch of the right moments falling into place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite a process. It seems like you have good
Oh
luck
yeah.
and good timing, though.
Yeah.
You seem to be in the right place at the right time, and you've worked with a lot of awesome people. Do you have any like standout professional experiences where you've worked with, actors or actresses that you really loved?
I mean, it's like I one of the moments is, it's real funny. T-Pain is like all over Twitch now, but
Yeah.
White Women, we did a sketch for Comedy Central called Hip Hop Courtroom, and so we had T-Pain playing the judge, and so that was like real cool to me. That was like, oh damn, T-Pain is here,
That's
like,
amazing.
yeah, that was a cool moment. I mean, it was so funny because the moment the coolest one everyone thinks is cool for me is because like very early on, me and Timothy Chalamet were in a short film together, but it was before he was like the Timothy Chalamet. I still thought it was
Sinners.
cool. Yeah, Spinners. Yep, you see, the real ones know. Um, but he was coming off of Homeland, and I liked the character he did there,
Oh.
and I was like, oh man, you were real cool in that. And then so it's funny because people were like, oh, you did it with him. I was like, yeah, but at the time he wasn't like that dude,
Did
so it was
you
just us chilling.
what did you like let's be honest. Are you surprised, or at the time were you like, "Oh, this kid's going to like have a career?" Like what
It
did you have a premonition
I
about it?
know it was so funny because I like if I would have just took uh, this one thing I'm gonna say out of it, I just would have considered him another fun actor that I had, and he was gonna do it because he did Homeland, which was nice and dope. But I'm like, okay, we must be on similar tracks if we're on this short together,
Yeah, hell
and
yeah.
but when he before we shot it in Joshua Tree, and before on our way there we had to pick him up, and he and I was like, "Oh man, what was that?" He was like, "Yeah, I had a meeting with this director," and I was like, "Oh man, what's his name?" He was like, "Christopher Nolan," and I was like, "Oh." And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be in his new movie." I auditioned for it, and he said he wanted me to be in it, and I was like, "Whoa!" And that's when I knew I was like, "Okay, this kid's gone.
Wait,
He's
what
about to
movie? I'm
blow up."
trying to. What
It was
was it?
Interstellar. Interstellar.
Oh,
He
he was
was
in Interstellar.
yeah, you remember when before time skipped and he was and his family, he was the younger
He was a
son.
kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was crazy because like that's the thing about like acting is you shoot so much stuff and
Yeah.
they all come out in different times. Like there are like two, indie features I've shot that
Wow.
are not even out yet. And at this point
Ooh.
it's going to be a while. And
Yeah.
and I think about the year that he really popped off, which was the year he did Call Me by Your Name, but also
Mhm.
you had Boyhood, and also you had that like one period piece he was in,
Little
and also
Women.
you had like Little Women. No, the other one he did another period piece before that where it was like the Civil War, the Revolutionary War. He did that. It was all in one year. All these movies he did came out at the same time, and I was like, I wonder how long he was sitting on all that.
Mhm.
Um, and,
Yeah.
and then
Has
like
to
I was
be
talking
on.
about because Dune's getting ready to come
Oh
out, and then
God,
I
I
think
know. So
a
excited.
couple of and I don't and I never think about these things, but like a year or so back, I was coming to New York and I hit him up and I was like, "Yo, I'm about to be in town. What you up to?" He was like, "I'm in the UAE," and I was just thinking he was just living his like fancy, fanciful lifestyle. And someone I told that story to someone, they're like, "Oh, he was shooting Dune," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, he was shooting that a while ago."
Uh,
Uh,
oh my God. On a scale
yeah.
of 1 to 10, how are you? How excited are you for Dune?
Oh man, I anything. And see, I have this weird thing. If it is a property I have a sort of attachment to that I know and enjoy, I hit this neutral status. I try and come in as
Oh,
blind as possible because I think
really?
that's how we end up. Yeah, I did the same thing for Black Panther, and Black Panther is my favorite Marvel character of all time. Whereas,
Okay.
like, it's very easy because we, as fans of something, especially something in a different form of media, so it's like
Mhm.
books or graphic novels, we have built a whole world in our own eyes
Yeah.
around this property. So I have to let go of that because if it doesn't stack up, then I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh, this isn't great. But it's really like, no, this isn't how I imagined it, which
Right.
is a different thing.
Yeah. Very true. Dune was one of my quarantine reads. Um,
Ooh,
I mean, I have no doubt that it will be beautiful. I know it will
yeah.
deliver that. I'm pretty excited. I don't think I've been
Ooh.
this like excited for a book movie to come out since Ready Player One, which I was extremely disappointed by.
Yeah, yeah. I heard not anyone who read the book was not that happy about it, and I was like, "Yep, see, y'all have to use my technique. My
Mm-hmm.
technique will keep you
I'm gonna do that
safe."
next time.
Oh
But you
yeah.
should read the book. It's really good. It's
Okay,
amazing.
I
Movie.
will. I'll check it out.
But speaking of movies, you have a movie blog, right?
Yeah, it's a movie podcast called
Movie
Who Shot Ya?
podcast. Wait,
Yeah,
called what?
Who Shot Ya?
Who shot ya? Oh, okay. Wait, can you tell?
Yeah.
Do tell more. I'd love
Oh
to
yeah.
hear, all
Yeah.
about it.
So I have a movie podcast called Who Shot Ya on Maximum Fun. It's with me, Drea Clark, Alonzo Duralde, and and I like the dynamic for the pod because we're all coming from like different places. Like Alonzo
Mm.
is a critic. He's an actual critic, and he's older than all of us. He's gay, so he has this like that's his perspective. And you have Drea, who's from the Midwest, and she is a festival programmer, so she watches a bunch of
Mm.
like indie stuff and stuff that people have never heard of, and and that's her perspective. And then you have me who like I signed up to this podcast because I wanted to watch more movies because I feel like if it's not something on my radar, I'll sleep on it. And if it's not
Yeah.
something that has action or superheroes, I'll sleep on it. So you have all of us coming together to like talk about some movies, and there are so many movies that I would have never seen if it weren't for this podcast, both because either it's something I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't be into that, or because it's just would have never been on my radar.
Mhm.
So
Interesting. So what are some of the ones that like have stood out to you that you all watched?
Well,
Thanks
man,
for the
let me
follow,
see.
leave a replays.
I can give you my top 10 from this past year. Hold on, let me
Oh,
pull it up.
I'd love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That so people. So it's gonna start off with one that might make you chuckle. But it gets better.
Okay.
So my number 10 was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
My number 9 was King of Staten Island. Number 8 was The Old Guard on Netflix. Number 7 was Spike Lee's The Five Bloods. Number 6, The Hunt. Number 5, 40-year-old version. Number 4, The Half of It. Number 3, Tiger Tail. Number 2, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. And number 1, Cajillionaire.
No way. Kajillionaire
Yeah,
was your number one.
Cajillionaire was my number 1. I loved it.
Okay. Um, what a role for Evan Rachel Wood. Like
Yeah.
unbelievable. She
Oh
was
yeah.
unbelievable. Transformed.
Yeah.
I was so
It was it
impressed.
was it was so great. Yeah, to see her in that one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of hers. She's just so
Really.
stunning. Oh yeah, I mean she's like oh my god, total girl crush. Like I'm obsessed with her. But that was the first movie that I was like, not doing it for me. And that's when I knew she was killing the role.
Yeah. You're like, all right, you're really doing it.
Yeah, old Dolio, iconic.
Oh my gosh, yes. Everything about it. That dance scene is just so. My gosh.
Yeah, I'm a big Miranda July fan as well.
Oh.
She did an
Yeah.
amazing job. But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
pretty like obscure list. I have not seen slash heard of a lot of those movies. So who's picking them?
Oh man, yeah, I know. It was like I said, like I think like The King of Staten Island was the Judd Apatow movie
Yes.
with Pete Davidson,
Right.
and I enjoyed that. I know you probably heard of The Old Guard, The Five Bloods. There were discourse. Did you see The Hunt at all?
No.
The Hunt was that controversial movie by Damon Lindelof, where it was like
No.
these
What? I
liberal
love
people
Damon
who hunt
Lindelof.
Republicans. Yeah, it was like a satire film where like it's this group of liberals, and every year they hunt Republicans in the woods, like all these like MAGA style people, and yeah, it was great, but like
Writing it
the
down.
like description of it made the people on the right mad and said, "Oh my gosh!" But really, if you watch it, it's a movie um that like makes fun of liberals more than Republicans.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a Lost stan for sure. Damon Lindelof is definitely a hero of mine. So I'm gonna have to watch that. Was that on Netflix?
uh,
I'll
the
I'll find
I
it.
think I no, I had to buy it. It was in that early period when they were refusing to release it on platforms, and they were just like, we're gonna put them on this site that you like watch, pay and watch.
Oh, interesting. I'm actually just gonna look it up because I am curious.
Yeah,
The Hunt. Damon Lindelof. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is not even looking familiar. Oh wait, that's
yeah.
just pictures of him. I wanted to see like a poster. The most talked about movie of the year, and is one that no one's actually seen.
Yeah.
That is funny. And then what was the second movie on your list? Because I keep hearing about it and I haven't watched it yet. I know it was at Sundance. The number two movie.
Oh, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Oh man,
Yes.
that one was really intense and good. But it's about a young girl who gets pregnant. She's a teenager, and she wants to get an abortion, but it's not legal in Philadelphia for a minor to get it. Like they have to inform her parents. So she goes to New York with her cousin to get an abortion where she'd be able to get it. But she has to. But her cousin is like is kind of like more. I think like the dynamic between her and her cousin, like like her cousin's more like outgoing, and and kind of like and it's like makes money. It just is this like whew, it's like it's intense.
Wow. Is it a?
Yeah.
It's gonna make me cry. I have a feeling.
Yeah. I like I want to be like no, but that'd be lying. It's definitely going to be one. I think it's one of those movies where someone you know like the director, who I need to remember who she was. Uh,
Oh, I can look it up.
I got it already. Eliza Hittman. You can tell that she wanted to really portray what it's like existing in the world as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and just with everything they come across and the things that are highlighted and
Yeah.
highlighted, it really like I was able to hear loud and clear what she was trying to say, and it was a wonderful movie.
Wow. All right. Well, that is on the top of my list. I remember this movie Beach Rats and seeing like when it came out. I never saw it. Did you?
No, I did not.
I remember the trailer was really powerful. I was like, damn, this looks
Okay, well
super good.
I'm gonna have to peep that.
I love indie movies. I like my high school was
Yeah.
just oh my god, like Thumbsucker was one of my favorites.
Ooh.
Trying oh my god, Bottle. Wait, what was it? Oh man, I need to. Oh, have you seen Wrist Cutters? A love story.
No.
So good,
Ooh.
so good. Damn, what are some of my other favorite indie movies? What are some of yours? Other, I mean, you just gave an amazing
Oh
list.
yeah. I mean, yeah, those are of the year, but all time, my like favorite movie of all time is going to be The Big Lebowski. That's like
Yes.
hands down. I love the Coen brothers. I love everything they do. Funny enough, I haven't seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs yet. I was like,
I
oh
haven't
man,
either.
I was like, I like those dudes. I need to check it out, but I just never got around to it.
Yeah. What's your
All
favorite
right.
Coen Brothers movie?
Oh
Well, wait.
man.
Yeah.
Other than The Big Lebowski,
Other than The Big
I
Lebowski.
really, as much, as most people didn't mess with it, I really actually liked Lady Killers. I thought it was great. It was fun. It was like a fun, goofy concept.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna freeze for a second, but because I'm trying to make this look better, huh?
Oh, because my quality is bad. It's something with VMix. They'll come back, everyone. Don't worry. Now I want to look up what that indie movie was. Um, Bottle Rock. It wasn't Bottle Rocket. Oh hey. Oh my gosh, it's so much better.
Yeah, I've wanted to do this probably since we started, but I didn't know when is a good time. But now, how good it looks, I probably should have did it when we started.
How did you fix that? I've been having
Well,
major issues with the
if people
quality.
here's yeah, here's the thing. It's a Chrome issue. If people are having problems, tell them to do it in Firefox, and it'll make it look way
Really?
better. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What? Oh my
I know.
gosh, this is a
I
game
should have did
changer.
this like 5 minutes in. I should have did this. I totally should have. But I was like, I don't want like we're having a good convo. I don't want to break the combo. But I'm like, now looking how crisp and good. I'm like, I should have not waited until an hour in.
Well, you just like saved me. This is crazy. I've had
Yeah.
this issue with every single interview I've done, and I thought it was a vMix problem, but I guess it's a
No,
browser problem.
yeah, it's a vmix browser problem. It's because I was running into that on Super Punch, and so as soon as I saw it, I immediately clocked that I probably should come in come in. And it's so funny because it's just sometimes like there was like another stream I was in where I was totally fine doing it on Chrome, and then so I don't know. It is a vmix problem at the end of the day, definitely a vmix problem, but
Well, thank you for
yeah, of course.
solving this.
For
This
for
is gonna make all my streams so much better.
yeah, 100%. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Okay, well, we were talking about the Coen brothers. Um,
Hmm.
I'm like blanking on all movie names right now, but I think one of my favorites is the one with like the Jewish guy, but I'm forgetting what it's called. Um,
Let's see.
yeah, hold on. We're gonna gotta pull up the browser window
Yeah,
for
yeah, we're gonna
this.
bring it up. We're gonna bring it up. Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh, I did love that one.
Uh, tr-
Um,
Ooh, Hail Caesar. Yeah, that was a solid one.
that was a solid one.
I always forget that they did No Country for Old Men, which was amazing.
Right? Oh my
Barton
god.
Fink.
Barton, oh, A Serious Man is the one I was thinking of.
Oh, oh,
Um,
everyone. I haven't seen that one yet, and everyone said that's the one. That's the one.
it's
So
really
I
good. I
I
definitely
know.
recommend it.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit through and I'm gonna do a Coen Brothers night
Yeah. Ah,
because I
man.
just realized there's a few of those that have slipped by me that I need to go by.
Totally. Totally. I love this picture of John Turturro. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I could just spend hours on IMDb.
Oh
Also,
yeah.
I feel like I have to comment on the fact that last night, this was so weird, Iffy. Oh wait, sorry, I just went back to the browser. So last night I like was having this really hard time sleeping. And every time I fell asleep, I kept going back into the same dream about Dominic Monaghan. No idea why. Like, I still.
Yeah,
Oops, gotta pull
that
him up.
is yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and it was me, like, convinced that, like, I had to help him with something. And, like, it was
Wow.
crazy. It was pretty crazy.
Oh man.
um,
See?
yeah,
I'm,
pretty epic resume, for sure. Do you like Lord of the Rings?
huh? Oh yeah, I need to rewatch it though. I told myself I was gonna rewatch it.
What have been your favorite quarantine like rewatches, or have you been watching all new
Ooh.
stuff?
No, no, I've done some rewatches, and my favorite is rewatching my favorite anime of all time, Tenjin Toppa Gurren Lagann. I
Ooh,
rewatched that, and it's still great. So like I
really?
love it. It makes it's like how sometimes we find like sources of inspiration in different pieces of media. Like I
Yeah.
watch that show and feel like I can take on whatever the world throws at me.
Wow. What about it inspires you so much?
Oh man, I think it's just because it's the idea of like it's pretty much this idea of like so the concept of it or that these people live underground
Hmm.
and the like mayor of whatever town they are underground says that they have to live underground. It's not safe on the surface. If you go to the surface you automatically die. There's this guy who's like, I just know I have to be up there. I just know we have to get up there. We need to see it. I need to see for myself. I'm not gonna settle for this guy saying it's not safe. I need to find out for myself. And it's like, and he's like, I don't even want to just go to the surface. I want to go to to space. Like I'm going beyond the surface. Like I need to go up there. And it's pretty much their journey and them kind of figuring out the mystery behind that. But just seeing the like, obviously as we all know how anime works, by the end of it, they will reach these like heights and seeing like them and like them understanding like, yeah, like we can do this. Like
Yeah.
we were able to make it. It's just like it just fills me with such like
Yeah.
energy because I feel like our careers are ones where people are constantly trying to like remind us that it's just so impossible or so, and just even getting as far as I've gotten now is
Hmm.
such a mind-blowing thing, not only to those people but to
Yeah.
me back then if I was to take a time machine.
Yeah. Oh my God, of course. Do you think, well, I'm guessing you've probably maybe taken a stab at writing an animated series already? Have you ever done that?
Um, I mean, that's my newest one because I've worked on
Oh,
animated shows and I've been read for them, but I have yet to make a sample that's animated. So that's my new journey right now.
is it anime inspired?
Yeah, I think anything I do that has action in it is anime inspired.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
God. Well, that sounds amazing. I would love to see it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it tis the time of rewatching great shows to keep us
Oh yeah.
inspired. I'm
Oh yeah.
getting through Bob's Burgers for the like 800th time.
Well, it's so funny too. What's up, 36 Nadia? I wanted to say what's up
Hey
because that's a solid
Nadia.
name. That's probably that's the dopest name on this platform.
Nadia's like the
Um,
dopest person. Nadia's gonna be on the
oh,
show, actually.
oh, okay. I'll have to tune in.
Hell yeah.
Uh,
She's a sports agent. Pretty sick.
ooh, yeah, that's super sick.
Shout out Nadia.
Yeah, shout out, shout out. Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah. What what was I gonna say?
about rewatching shows and
Oh yeah,
animation.
I rewatched Dexter. I
Ah,
started rewatching Dexter because I used to be really into Dexter, but I kind of stopped like after like sometime after the John Lithgow season. But I've
okay.
been rewatching it, and it was so funny because it's so funny when you rewatch like older shows because I feel like in the early aughts to like the midpoint of that time there that was a period where a lot of shows had growing pains. Like your first
Hmm.
3 to 4 episodes weren't necessarily that great. So rewatching it, you're sitting up here like, oh, this is what I was into, I guess. And then like as you get drugged back in more and more and more, you're like, oh, actually no, I'm right. This was a good show. This is
Yeah.
great. I'm enjoying this.
Nadia said Dexter season 4 finale is the best finale of all time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which one?
I haven't
Which one
seen
was
it.
that one? Let me
I
see.
remember when I started watching Dexter, I like literally started like thinking I was gonna like become a murderer. I was starting to think in like
Oh,
Dexter mindset. I was like, I can't do this.
oh, even funnier. Like that one was. Let me see. Which season was the Dexter one? Oh yeah, this was probably the last season I think I watched. Yep, John Lithgow. Yeah, yep. That was yeah. You're right, Nadia. You're right. Yeah. It's a. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm on. I just started season three, and season three is the Jimmy Smith season, and that's how you knew because like Dexter was real good about like getting like okay this season, this antagonist is going to be a big star, and I think that's such a good device that we need to get back into doing. Where it's like, are we
Hmm.
going to sign on like an actor you love, an actor actress you love, and just that's going to be the through line in this season, and
Yeah.
I mean that's a great way to bring in new people too.
Yeah. I love John Lithgow and How I Met Your Mother. He's Barney's
Oh yeah.
dad.
Hmm.
A great role. But I do think it's really interesting how sort of the celebrity landscape has changed. And, you know, now all these like Hollywood movie stars are on Netflix, on Hulu. They're not on YouTube or Twitch necessarily yet, but like it's a whole new terrain for them to navigate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. Oh, it's whew.
Yeah. Who knows what we'll see next? But, you know, I hope that they come to Twitch personally. Start
Yeah,
doing.
I
I
know.
mean, they'll need an improv lesson from Ify, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm down. I would come through, pull up.
Well, we've already been going for an hour. I just want to sort of get your final thoughts and kind of open it up. If you have any like cultural hot takes about like what's going on these days. I know it's the second day of January, so nothing crazy's happened yet, but like, what do you think is interesting, like culturally interesting, that's going on right now, like on the internet or beyond?
Ooh, I think that's really great. I think what's culturally interesting is the new ways that people are finding to create and be entertainers. I
Mhm.
think a little more inside baseball. We're seeing a lot of popular podcasts kind of go indie and break away from their networks, and it's
Yeah.
happening because they're learning. Oh, now that I've been forced to buy all this equipment to have the sound better and have this sound better, then yeah, I don't necessarily need the studio anymore. And I know how to handle the business end of it. Why do I split this ad revenue?
Yeah.
And I think you're also seeing a lot of people who like they are essentially like they've had these patreons, right? And a lot of these pods have had side patreons for so long, and I'm sure they're like, well, if I'm seeing this much just from the side patreon, and like people are willing to just pay me directly and to have content without ads, let's just do that.
Mhm. Are you on Patreon?
No, actually, I'm not. I almost kind of was. So I have a podcast with one of my oldest friends, Matt Apodaca. We met back since, if you've been following along, since I was in comedy sports in high school, and
Wow.
so we had a podcast, and I tried to. I was like, okay, maybe we'll do a Patreon, and then we were using what was it? It was the Podbean. They had like a Patreon. They like a lot of these like pod host sites are starting to figure out what's going on. So they had a
Mhm.
Patreon type setting, and then like a lot of it like it since it, basically it felt like a lot of folks um weren't like gravitating towards towards like this our subscriptions, like the listeners we had
Yeah.
weren't, and not like and not even like in a way that I'm like, oh, they don't care about us, and more so just like, oh, we just don't have the listener base to for me to put in the effort of a Patreon. Also, like,
Right.
I just didn't have any ideas for what I could offer besides just this content. So
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's gonna want the exclusives, you know? Especially now
hmm
that you're dropping music. Oh, it's like
oh yeah,
the
I know.
next frontier. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to hear the
Oh,
song.
oh, thank you so much.
It's gonna be
It's
something.
gonna be it's gonna. I'll send it to you. You can get your ears on it first.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. That would be amazing. And I'm sure you
yeah.
have like a big Discord community, right?
Oh yeah, and that's what's been my kind of like proudest, I think, achievement, is because it's like one thing to have like, early on I was noticing like the Discord was just at first it felt like a bunch of people who liked watching me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they were in the Discord to see when I would go live, and in the Discord to see what I was doing. But now it's grown to a full blown community where like I remember I like checked in, and there's just so many different conversations and people communicating uh like there's so many like people just who care about themselves, just
Yeah.
independent from me. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's what I want. I want people to have their own relationships and be friends in here and don't even need me around.
Yeah. That's so cool. I think Discord is just like the perfect partner for Twitch. You know, they just go hand in hand and getting
Oh
to
yeah.
I like just during quarantine, I've joined so many different Discord servers. And met so many cool people, and just like being able to hop on a voice channel whenever you want, especially Skirt, for example. He like whenever I wake
hmm
up in the morning, he is guaranteed in the voice channel because it's like his evening
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
because he doesn't sleep.
Yeah. No, he's straight up just grinding nonstop. I'm like, all right, Skirt, you could get some rest. You know that, right? You
Yeah,
could. Oh,
exactly.
he's like, no,
um
I refuse.
but yeah, I mean, I am all about 2021 being. Oh wait, not No Lamar says the Salt Squad is such a wild and fun group.
Oh, yeah, that's the community, the Salt Squad. Yeah, they really They really get it in. You know, like they truly
They're coming through. They're here right
they're
now.
coming
Thank you
through.
guys all for being
Oh,
here so much. Um, Ify is obviously the absolute best, and I feel so lucky to
yeah,
have you on my channel today. And if you guys want to watch more fun interviews with awesome people, follow me. Um,
yeah.
I'm doing like 3 interviews a week these days. Hey, Los Elso, what's up?
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm just trying to talk to like interesting people and get to know. I am not a comedian. Ify is a comedian. I'm more of a
Well, you could
researcher.
try. You could always step on that stage. See what's popping
Wait,
off.
can we do it? What's an improv thing we can do right now? I swear to God, I have never done improv in my life. I think I'm the only person on my team that doesn't do improv.
Oh, yeah, you gotta do some zip zap zop. You know, that's the warm up you do. You could do
I
let's
don't know what
see.
that
Let's
is,
see.
so that
Yeah.
shows you where I'm coming from. But I will work on it. I will definitely work
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
All right, bet.
Um, and yeah, thank you so much, Ify. It's been so much fun, and I can't
Of
wait to see what
course.
you have in store this year. You're my
Yeah,
first
it's gonna be fun.
interview of 2021.
Look, starting the year off right, and I'm happy to be here with you.
Yay. Thank you. Thanks everyone so much for tuning in. Ify, I will hopefully see you in LA sometime soon.
Yeah, hit me up. We'll click.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Ify. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Hey, everyone. I gotta figure out some tech stuff before I cut this off. What's up? Sorry, Los Oso.